This is going to be a marvelous new moon in Pisces, but a very difficult one. And I'm going to tell you why. One, moon is represented by our emotions and our primal instincts, among other things. Totally got caught on the word tradition. The traditions that we adopt, the ones that have really formed our behaviors, our secret behaviors, behaviors that we have behind the scenes. And it really supports a little bit of what I just said. Shakti is the particular nakshatra in the sky that this new moon in Pisces will be happening under. So all these first deacon Pisces, they'll be the ones who have very difficult times expressing their emotions. Because Shakti really sets back into Aquarius. And Aquarius isn't necessarily the most emotionally expressive person, being so far away from the rest of our solar system, being so far away from the sun, so far away from the light. And being so far away from that light, it does give some very powerful abilities on this new moon in Pisces. And one of those abilities is, the gifts that comes from being reclusive, the gifts that comes from being a little bit secretive. And it's the kind of thing where we're not being secretive intentionally to hurt somebody or, to lie or to be deceitful. It's something more innate within us when you talk about Shak or Pisces in the first decan. So this is what happening at a 9-degree new moon in Pisces. And that first decan of Pisces doesn't have a lot of experience with other people. And so Shak or this particular degree of Pisces in a new moon will do very well in like a Saturn, right? Because it's like, it's you don't really need to be emotional with a planet like Saturn, but with the moon, I would not particularly do manifestations around this new moon when it comes to anything emotionally charged. Rather, think about it with a mindset that is more scientific. Think about it with a mind that is more about experimentation. And one that is actually driven to take actions against your fears. To understand my fear is my desire is my fear. And if you agree with that, type that down below. My fear is my desire is my fear. Type that in the chat. Let us know that you're here and you're supporting as you hit that thumbs up and that likes button. The things that we're fearing to manifest, to create, are governed right now by Rahu in this moon. Rahu also noted as the North Node. Okay? And so this whole Pisces energy is driven by Rahu, and it's saying you can go through a tremendous amount of healing right now. Shak is represented by 100 physicians or 100 doctors. And they do the type of spiritual, esoteric healing that your soul has been waiting for. And this new moon says, if you embrace your soul's desire to heal your human self, okay? And in particular, the human self, the part about your human self that is related to the mind and how the mind blocks us from our tremendous abundance, blocks us from experimenting, blocks us from understanding that we don't want to wake up from the dream. We want to dream bigger. We want to dream further. We want to dream a tremendous manifestation, something that, quite frankly, does scare us. And so what's nice is this new moon in Pisces is going to be trining, okay, Mars in Cancer, but specifically a Mars in Cancer that has gone through a 5-7 month retrograde. And so it's like, okay, we have two water signs, the moon in Pisces, Mars in Cancer. Okay, it's like, Okay, so Mars in Cancer, what is it doing? It's really cutting away from the fears of the 10th house and the 5th house. Okay, what's that about? That's about our reputation and our willingness to shine, to gain attention, to no longer be reclusive and secretive about this is what matters to me. This is what I truly need. This is what brings me joy. This is what I find tremendously fun. This is what I want to do in my romantic relationships that brings me emotional fulfillment. But the new moon in Pisces, again, is a time for manifestation. It's a time where the moon is, a little bit hidden. And it's saying over the next 6 months from, March 2025 or so to about September, when our harvest comes, our gains, closer to Virgo Libra season, this is where we start showing all the work we've done for 6 months from March until then in September, all the hard work, okay, that we're putting in towards our dream, into our desires to manifest something that we actually care about, something that is very near and dear to our heart, something we want to be known for, something that we want, people on the public stage to say, wow, you know what? That is amazing. You built that? You created that? How did you do it? And how you did it was by essentially taking that, depression of your emotions, when they don't get expressed for so long, and this is what's powerful about Aquarius, it becomes a very powerful driving force that essentially catapults us very, very far into the future being of who we are. But we have the opportunity with this new moon in Pisces to be that future version of ourselves today. Even if all of the attributes and all the accolades and all of the gifts that seem necessary, that seem destined to come, even if we don't embody those things yet in the moment, it's our mission on this new moon in Pisces to do our best to embody those future attributes, those future skills, abilities, and habits. Keyword, habits, today. And that's how I find you're going to truly, truly, truly manifest on this new moon in Pisces in a way that is like otherworldly, it's godly. The mysticism that you can pull from your future self, from who you want to be today, is tremendous. Now, here's another key thing we need to look at on this new moon in Pisces. Now, from the Vedic lens, we're going to have the moon in Pisces, so the new moon in Pisces will be under Shatabishak, okay? Now, this has to then respond, it's in Aquarius, so it has to respond to Saturn. And Saturn, the nakshatra being governed right now, is called Purva Bhadrapada. And I talked about this in my Venus retrograde video, so depending on when you're watching it, go check that. You can get your all signs forecast for Venus retrograde on what the hell is Purva Bhadrapada and how does it have anything to do with this particular new moon. Well, I want to tell you because they're happening around the same time. And it's primarily about spiritual transformation. It's about endings, literally being on your deathbed. So it's like, okay, even though I'm in my 30s, it's like, can I see my past and see my future? Can I see what I came from and can I see where I'm going? And, essentially make decisions from there. And the wisdom that I have from the past and also from the manifestations of what I want to be and what I'm striving and driving ambitiously to become today. Can I look at these two things and understand, okay, here are my domestic habits that I am looking to. When I say domestic, what I mean is traditional habits from the family's dynamic. The ones that I may have adopted rather than the ones that I strive to become more instinctually and act and behave more instinctually like myself, like my true self, my nature beyond the conditionings of the family's dynamic. Can I be true and authentic? That's a part of what this new moon in Pisces, I think, is very powerful for and potent for, because it's like, okay, what does that mean? It's like, okay, well, being reclusive, being secretive, from that dynamic, basically walking very, very far away, going to another country, diving into a different language of my own cultural backing, all these themes are going to take me further from my conditioning. And as that happens, I have a stronger, more powerful, more potent chance to actually dissolve and allow that death to happen, to say, look, I am more than my name. I'm more than my cultural identity. I'm more than my language that I had at birth. I am more than the foods that I've eaten all my life, which carries a DNA and energetic signature programming me to behave a certain way, right? It's like me eating fried chicken and watermelon like a black man, okay? This is very stereotypical because I never really ate watermelon too much as a growing up, but maybe that's already a part of it. Like me doing this, I adopt the DNA of everyone within that culture, within that tribe, versus, okay, I'm here in Mexico, or if I'm over in, Asia, it's like eating those foods, I start taking in their rational fears as well as their tremendous gifts. And so this Mercury in Purva Bhadrapada is happening in Mercury in Pisces at the same time. And we have to understand that because Mars is bringing us to that Mercury. Forgive me right now for skipping how's that linked. All right, but you could probably see it on the screen at the same time as I say this. Because Mars is in Cancer, okay? But in Vedic, it's happening in Purnovasu, which is ruled and governed by this Jupiterian energy. But that brings me to Mercury in Pisces. This is the beginning of a very painful by choice and by design, transformation that we are undergoing. And this painful transformation, it's going to happen, one, in our relationship, okay, with our finances, as well as with our relationships and the things that we marry, especially the habits that we are marrying, whether they're good for us or not. This is going to be up for debate, and it's going to be about, with this new moon in Pisces, making a conscious choice to adopt those future habits, all right, today. And I spoke about that a little bit earlier, by also understanding and getting very clean and clear on, I need to let go of my old habits because they're essentially not allowing me to manifest powerfully and with potency, okay? I'm going to have a halfway. If you go halfway in this manifestation, you're going to get a half result. And so this is something I find very, very powerful and potent during this time frame, especially while Mercury is in Pisces, as we're talking about this right now. This is one that doesn't need to necessarily go through this whole process rationally the way this new moon in Pisces will want to, okay, being a part of that Rahu energy. So we must understand that there's going to be a lot of mental deception that we're going to have within our own being, within our own day-to-day actions about, okay, here's what I need to adopt, but here's what I'm attached to. Can I make the shift? And you're going to have a lot of mind games being played with yourself. And the challenge is, if you want to become, okay, respected for that version of yourself, that version of your identity, that version of your future being, if you want to respect for that, it's like you have to essentially be disciplined, because this is being ruled by a pada of Saturn, which maybe you'll see on screen as well, under the Lords, quote unquote. And so, if I look away from everything I just said, when I look at this new moon in Pisces, I think it's a tremendous time to be alive. And I do believe that it's not a very emotional moon, even though it's considered Pisces, which people will look at as emotional. But try looking at a first decan Pisces, anybody from 0 to 10 degrees, 0 to 9 degrees, and you'll realize, like, yeah, they have powerful emotions, but they're not necessarily expressed, right? Like, Pisces is a very hidden energy, right? Like, things don't always show up on the surface, and most times it's not even obvious to them. And that's a part of why irrational fears can either hold us back, or we can essentially take the time to rest. And my partner talked to me about this a lot, and I've been practicing this a lot in this heartbeat era of my life. It's like, okay, I've undergone so much over this winter solstice, so much change, so much, unfathomable and even unspeakable experiences that I can't comprehend. I even tried to write down and journal these things, and I got like 2 lines on my paper, and then I was just kind of like, what? And my point is, the only way I realized when I'm writing, the only way I'm going to be able to digest all this change, this spiritual transformation, is to rest. And so what I've been doing is going to bed at 8:30 every night and waking up with a consistent schedule. And, not overexerting my adrenal glands. It's like, okay, doing less coffee, and, just talking to less people for reasons that don't really matter, right? Like literally just taking my time to recluse myself, to back up, to keep the secrets of my inner workings, private and only within my own soul, right? Which again, it doesn't have a physical manifestation. So maybe that allows you to kind of see a little bit better from my own personal experience of how I'm essentially treating this new moon in Pisces, where it's like, just rest more, taking more walks in silence, listening to less music through the wireless headphones, which are doing what? Interfering with your mind. And so it's like, if I'm not saying don't listen to music, but if you're going to listen, try listening to it with a wired headphone right now, for example. And if you are going to listen to music, try listen to music without words right now, and just listen to rhythms, listen to things that, move your soul, that allow you to feel an emotion that you may not understand, and understand that it's doing the work for you if you give yourself the opportunity to, keep what is transforming at a deep psychological and spiritual level within your being, keep it to yourself right now. And as you do that, you're going to find 6 months later a tremendous amount of abundance, because that's what Pisces is always going to bring. It brings massive abundance because it's so giving. So it's like, can you give away your old habits that essentially don't serve you? And are you willing to open your heart and receive the new benefits that have been knocking on your door? Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. If you really enjoyed this and you're brand new, I urge you to subscribe as we continue to grow the channel, grow the network. If you're looking for a community or a tribe, do check out, our roundtable. It is an economy. It's a membership that we're meeting every first and third Sunday. And so, we're back, we're live, and we've had a new format where it's like, okay, I'm sending out a 10-minute video ahead of time, and there's more time in the class to do the things that I like to consider spiritual accountability, where it's like, look, if you know you want to do breath work, you want to do yoga, you want to do qigong, you want to do your spiritual practices, but maybe you haven't been able to hold yourself accountable and disciplined enough. This is a place where I feel like the community, the tribe, we're always talking, we're always taking polls and making sure that we're kind of checking in on each other. And I find that, what's beautiful about it is, everybody in that group, last call we were in, there were I think there's 5 different countries in there with 5 different people. Like 5 people were all in 5 different countries. And I think that's one of the miraculous benefits of this particular membership. So that said, hit the thumbs up and likes button. If you want to work one-on-one or book a one-on-one reading with me, you have that opportunity. I've actually just opened that up maybe like 2-3 days ago. I saw somebody in my comments asking about it. On the same day that I decided in my mind I'm opening it up, and so boom, it's there for you. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. If you made it to the end of this video, I want you to drop a green heart below and let that green heart symbolize and represent that you are opening your heart and you are allowing yourself to forgive what you've been wanting to forgive, as well as opening yourself up to receive, in this heartbeat era, what you feel you truly deserve. And I want you to say, I deserve it, with the green heart down below in the chat. Say, I deserve it, with the green heart below in the chat. We'll see you soon. I love you. Thank you for subscribing.